Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys. It sound right, boys.
Right on, writers, and welcome first-time viewers to the Books by Adrian author platform and our flagship show, Livestream Sunday. I am your host, Adrian Santiago. I am a YouTube content creator and an author. My debut novel, Mythic Shadow the Spark, has entered the editing phase and will hopefully release by the end of this year. Fingers crossed on that one. If you have not done so already, please like and comment on, or at least like for now, on the stream, and go ahead and leave a subscribe on me. Please hit that red subscribe button. That's the easiest way to support my project, which is to get my book into every store in the world. Sign up for my newsletter, and you will get up to date on everything going down on the platform, things coming up, and some exclusive stuff coming up very, very soon. Join my Patreon community if you are interested in financially supporting this project. You get early access to videos over there and exclusives like my full-length Breaking Bad commentary videos. I want to apologize for such a late start today, but I was having mic issues, and most of you probably know I was moving this week, and it's been crazy. I only actually finished at the old house yesterday, and we're not done at the new place today. And this place is temporary. We're moving again in 3 months. It's a whole thing. We'll talk about that later. All right, let's get to the comment of the week. The comment of the week this week comes to us from none other than Kent Sean himself. He commented on one of the Tuber Book Club videos or streams where we were discussing his novel. One thing for all of your consideration, I wanted to tell you over and over that John was dead, spoilers, and see how I could make you all doubt the fact of his demise. In fact, I showed you John under a sheet, even made his shroud a different color from the average of the crime scene. I wanted you to have all the evidence and still question. And he goes on a little bit after that to be very, very humble, and I'm not going to let him because he's awesome. So if you want to know what he's talking about, and if you want more juicy tidbits like that one, come to the Tuber Book Club on Tuesday. We're having a live interview with Kent Sean after having read his book as a book club. That book club has jumped from 16 members to now, I believe we're at 47. And I'm not going to lie here, most of that is due to Richard Holiday out there campaigning for his book. Let's hear it for our boy. I know that he's probably in the chat. Yeah, there he is in the chat. I'm going to get to you, chat, in just a minute. Congratulations on your campaign, bro, because you're killing it, man. Like, it's bananas. So if you want to read along with us, go ahead and head over to our book club and sign up. Sign-ups are going to be open indefinitely now, and we are still voting right now on the next book. The two front runners are Tracker by Bethany Votaw and Nightmare Tenet by Richard Holiday, and both I am very excited to read, so I'm jazzed whoever wins. It's not about favorites. I'm just excited to see which one we get to read first, so let's check it out. Our guest today is the ever-running Ben Pick. His links are downstairs. We're going to get to him in just a moment. Let's bring him out and give him a proper introduction. Our guest today is Ben Pick, who also goes by Running to Write Online. On his channel, Ben gives writing advice I
Hello,
just
hello.
I just realized that you guys probably weren't getting all of that. I don't know at what point my mic cut out. It looks like my
Right,
mic issues are not resolved.
right. I give running advice.
Yeah, you give writing advice. Yeah, running and writing advice. Ben, go ahead and take the floor for a second here. Let the people at home know who you are, where you're from, and what you got going on, because apparently they didn't hear anything I said.
No problem. I don't remember exactly what the rest of that is, but I am Ben Pick. I go by Running to Write. That's running two with a number and then write, all one word. I give writing advice. Sorry, I give questionable writing advice through writing metaphors. Adrian was nice enough to remove the questionable part of that. I also do weekly writing videos on my YouTube platform, which is now at youtube.com/running to write. I finally made it there, so I have my official name for the channel, which is awesome. 7 p.m. Eastern time every night. I give short running advice tips or whatever nerdy thing that's going on. Last week I went through my setup. Tomorrow I'm going through the music that inspires me. So how the music generates and helps me write, specifically what music I like. Spoiler alert: there's a couple of video game pieces in there, which I do sample in the video. And then 2 weeks ago, I actually had a really fun live stream. It was my 1 year anniversary on YouTube, so I'm really proud of that one. I brought my wife on. We did a sort of Q&A about how to write without upsetting your significant other. And so we went through my writing process. We went through how to balance that with your relationship, and it was just a lot of fun. So if you haven't checked it out, I strongly encourage you to do so. And let's see if I can check out the chat. Cool. Oh,
Well,
yeah.
we're,
Nice.
we're gonna check out the chat together here. Let's pull up some
Awesome.
stuff. Let's go all the way back to the beginning. Of course, Richard Holiday was first through the door. Hello,
Sounds all right.
hello. All right, right on, right on. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. I like it. Cover all your bases.
Good day to you, yeah.
All right. Ben, go ahead and give me a shout every time my mic cuts out and I don't realize.
We'll do. It was just at the end, so no worries.
Well, no, it did it again while you were talking. Like, I wasn't speaking, but I was watching my mic and it cut out again while you were speaking. So it's I think it's whatever is going on with it, it's not resolved. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right. Martin Lejeune is here. What's up? Running is terrible. Who is this idiot?
Thanks, Martin. I was actually just on Flash Aha with him on Friday. Wow, it's only been 2 days. Yeah, so I was on Flash Aha with Martin, so it was a lot of fun. He's a good guy.
Yeah, for sure. Martin's the best. First one from the new temporary HQ, which is why there's nothing on the walls behind me. I'm gonna probably put up like a tapestry or something, but I just didn't have time. But this is not the permanent spot. 3 months from now, I'll be moving again. It's a whole thing. All right. There's there's no Triforce behind me, but there's one on Ben's shirt there. So he's picking up the slack for us. Here, let me take that out. There you go. So there is a Triforce. Martin, pay attention.
Well, I wasn't on screen yet, so I told him I am covered.
Let's see. Amelia's here. Hello. Barrett's here. Hello. What's up, dude? All right. I just want to make sure that everybody's covered. Jenna's here. Hello, Jenna. Tuber Book Club. Yes, Tuesday. Kent Sean interview. I'm excited. You know what? This is bugging me. Let's put on some background music.
Ooh, sounds like somebody's cleaning the bathroom.
What?
So there's some comments in there about somebody's doing like cleaning work today. Oh yeah.
I'm not there yet, I guess. Vote for Nightmare Tenant, says Richard Holiday. Vote for who you want. Hydrate, yes. I have my water. Unfortunately, there's no ice machine in this new place. I don't have ice this time. It is not my customary chilled glass of water. It is room temperature, and I am not happy about it. Yes, I keep going mute. Yes, thank you guys. Listening. Okay, cool. All right, I think that's everybody. All right, hello everyone. Hello. Oh, it's Barrett that's cleaning. Okay, I see. Okay, all right. Ben.
Yes.
Let's jump into our topic discussion for the day.
Let's do it.
And hit it from there. So when I asked you on my questionnaire what topics you wanted to talk about, you put down sci-fi, fantasy, and world building.
Yep.
And I say let's roll those all up together because all of those are some of my favorite things, and they all describe my novel perfectly. So, world building being such an enjoyable part of writing a novel, at least for me. And every author does it differently. At what point in the process do you sort of plug in your world building section, so to speak? Where do you start?
Usually when I write, I have one specific scene. It's most often the climax of the story. And so it'll be, some epic battle or some really important dialogue going on. And then I just work backwards from there. I'm asking, who are these people? Why are they there? What is around them? Why are they fighting inside of a volcano? All kinds of random questions. So I have like a crystal moment, and then I just start building everything back from there. Well, they're using magic, so I need to create some kind of magic system to go along with what they're doing in the fight. They're using future technology, so I know like this is going to be a sci-fi story that I really want to tell. And like I said, I just build the world around a scene in my head.
That's so crazy, man, because I don't think I've ever started a story knowing the ending. You start at the end and work backwards.
Well, it's not the end. It's like the pivotal, the climax.
Right.
Yeah. So it's towards the end, but it's not like the actual.
Well, I mean, it's the big showdown, right?
Right.
Like after that is sort of the wrap up of the story, sort of the wind down.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's so. I would probably feel completely lost doing it that way. But I know that a lot of writers do, especially with mysteries. I think mysteries are also like really good for that, like starting at the end. Mine is a mystery, and I didn't start at the end. I didn't know how it was going to end when I began it.
I mean, that's how a lot of people write too. So a lot of murder mysteries, they'll include a bunch of clues, and then halfway through they'll decide who the killer is, and then they sort of make everything line up better to point to the killer.
Yeah.
Ah, man, you just got out.
Okay, thanks.
There we go.
All right, I gotta watch this. Okay, yeah, man. So then you are like me in the fact that you put your world building as it comes up, right? You just said oh, they're using magic in this battle. I have to come up with a magic system. That's exactly how I do it. Is like once I get to the point where like, oh, I need to have an answer to what this is. Let's world build this thing, and then like once that's good and solid, I keep going in the story. If it's something that I didn't come up with beforehand, obviously.
Right.
I definitely like have tastes of world building in the plotting and in the outlining, but I have like a whole like section in my drafting process before I start writing chapters where I sit down and I do some solid world building for the world as a whole. And then, like I said, as things come up after that, I dig deeper. You don't have any kind of like chunk right there where you dedicate to world building on its own before moving on?
Well, so the whole thing is very iterative. I mean, that is just one core concept of an idea. Then I build the world around it. And I'm like, oh, well, that moment no longer works. I need to go back. And then I sort of go, all through that entire process again. So I have, I have the world around. I have this one moment. I have the world around it. The moment no longer works. So I need to sort of go back through and piece everything together and like tear it down to build it back up again. And all that's just in the planning phase. So I am a very slow writer when it comes to that entire process.
Right on. What's your greater love, sci-fi or fantasy?
That's tough. It depends on mediums. In terms of reading, I tend towards the fantasy. In terms of shows, I tend towards the sci-fi.
That time I caught it. It caught out. But I caught it that time.
That's a second, man. You're good.
Dude, this is... See, for me, I excuse me. I like to watch sci-fis more. I like to read fantasies more.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
Yeah. What do you think that is? What is it about that?
I don't know.
Is it because it's harder to imagine the sci-fi technology stuff on your own? Maybe.
Probably.
I think that's what it is for me anyway. A lot of times when I read sci-fi novels, I have trouble like, what are they even describing to me here? Because they get like really into like the techno lingo and stuff, and I'm like, I don't know this stuff.
Yeah.
And it makes it harder. It takes it out of it versus just showing you a thing and being like, if you push this button, it explodes. Oh, okay, I get it. You know.
Right. Yeah, like Altered Carbon is a perfect example because that's the most recent one I can think of where I both read and watched like a hard sci-fi show.
Yes.
And it ended up being complete because I read the book first and then I watched the show, and it ended up being completely different from how I imagined. And yeah, there are some obvious divergences between a TV show and a book, but even within the scenes themselves, they didn't quite align as much.
Yeah. I remember reading the first book and having a lot of trouble with that one. Liking it, wanting to enjoy it more, but having trouble running into like, what does this mean? What is this talking about? And having to like decipher things before moving on in my reading. Whereas that show just like, I binged that whole first season.
And that's a great writing style for sci-fi, at least. I mean, think about The Martian. A lot of the technical aspects to it, they explain much better as it goes on, or like you said, they'll name some term that you don't know, you don't recognize, and then it'll chapters and chapters ahead when it becomes really relevant again, they'll fully explain. It'll be like, oh, that's what it is. But yeah, in the show, there's just a flashy intro scene, and you can see everything.
How do you write without knowing what you're aiming for?
Well, yeah, I posted a comment in there. It's obviously moving target, and I know I have that one moment in my head that I want to write, so that becomes what I aim for. So I aim to build to that climax that I see in my head, the emotions that I feel when I picture it, and I want to try and convey that over so that you will feel it. So, I might have a really good dream, and then I'll want to create that same scene in something that I'm writing. And so how do I convey all those emotions? How do I get you to care for those characters as I, care for when I experienced it?
I don't know if you saw this.
What? Oh, right, is like going to the toilet.
You need to be pointing somewhere specific or you make a big mess. For more such writing tips, subscribe to my new channel, Toileting to Write.
Thanks, Martin.
Oh, God. Oh, that's funny. Got another 45 minutes of this issue.
The bread pack is in full force. Well, half the bread pack is in full force. Although Adam, I saw in the chat. But yeah, 3/4 of the bread pack are here with their comedy, the comedy routine.
I use an old Star Trek tip of writing tech and moving on.
Science the science, and then just move on. Put in carrots.
Interesting. I've not seen the show. Reading Altered Carbon bored me to tears. It was a hard read. It was a hard read for me. It was a hard read. I wanted to love it. I didn't, but I wanted to. All right, dude. Let's move into it. The interview, the whole shebang. Why we're here. Let's find out what makes you tick. All right, my guy. When did you start running?
So I know we have a lot of questions, but this one has two different good answers to it. So I'm just going to talk as quickly as I can about it. And the other questions I have much shorter answers for. But this one, going way back to elementary school, I grew up in the suburbs and I was kind of a latchkey kid. So long as I got to school on time, I was perfectly fine, wouldn't get in trouble, whatever. So I grew up in the 90s. And there was a show on TV called Ronin Warriors. And I knew that if I were to walk from the moment that show ends to school, it's about a mile. I would go to my friend's house. We would walk to school together. And so it was about a mile complete in total. And there wasn't enough time for me to walk to school from the moment that show ended. So I sort of would do this run walking thing where I would I was in elementary school. I wasn't fit. I was carrying, a 20-pound trumpet case over my back plus my backpack. And so I would run for as much as I could. I would jog for as much as I could, and then I would walk, and I would jog as much as I could, and I would walk. And I can remember towards the end of that series, they have, you know, a Voltron Force moment where all 5 of the Ronin warriors come together and they transform into like this one really powerful warrior. And so I'm like, oh, I need to stay for this. Like this is getting really good. And yeah, I had to run a lot more than I normally do to get to the to get to class on time. So
that's a great story. I also played the trumpet in grade school.
Nice.
Richard is mind blown about you. I also played
Got up in the attic.
I also played the clarinet for a couple of years in grade school too.
Nice.
Which was less manly than the trumpet and got me made fun of. And
not at all, man. My brother played clarinet.
It's nice. It's a lovely instrument. It sounds great.
Yeah.
Did
you ever watch Ronin Warriors?
I did not watch Ronin Warriors. I've never even heard of Ronin Warriors, but it sounds pretty cool. It sounds like something I would be watching back then. I don't know why it got past me. Do you remember like what network it was on or whatever?
It was on Fox TV, and then Cartoon Network. Toonami did a replay of it. So that was in the late '90s, early 2000s, I think.
I think it's just a little past my time. I think I'm a little older than you. And,
well, so in elementary school, it would have been mid '90s when this was coming on, but it was also on at like 7 in the morning. So
yeah, I was already like entering high school when you were probably watching those cartoons, I think. Yeah, so it's a little past my time, but it sounds cool. Sounds really cool. Martin asks, why did you start running? Are you running away from something or towards something?
Usually towards something. Although my runs, I start at my house, I end at my house. So I'm really going nowhere, which is a great metaphor for life.
How often do you go on your runs, and what are your best like times and distances and all that?
Usually 3 times a week. I'm in a pretty good routine where I'm pushing myself to go about 8 miles, and then 11 miles. And so my goal is to do 1,200 miles throughout the year, which I'm well on track to do. During my normal running, I'm about an 8:30 pace per mile, which is pretty good. I think it's better than average. And I had my stats up. Give me just 1 second. I think I just ran a 10 mile with my brothers, and I was 1:11:23. I think it comes out to about a 7:09 minute pace. So
that's pretty cool, man. That's pretty cool. Yeah. Do you ever have that girl in a horror movie moment where you trip on a pebble and then like do like 3 somersaults and roll down the hill or whatever?
Yeah, I had one of those moments. You can see my finger is still a little dislocated.
I see that.
A year ago,
should get that looked at.
Oh, I mean, it's too late now. It's been a year. So I was on a run, and it was cold. It started raining. This was mid-February, and it's a Saturday morning, so it's my long run, and I go down normally on the run I go down some grand stairs, and the weather had gotten colder as I was running. I wasn't really paying attention to it because I'm just in my routine, whatever. So the rain turned to ice, which got very, very slick, and there was granite steps, which somebody was actually throwing salt on it as I took my first step, and I'm like, oh, it's all good, it's just rain, like it's not that bad, not realizing that everything had frozen over in the time since I started my run. And so I took 1 step, and my foot, slipped out from under me. My pinky dislocated, so it was cold enough. I just popped it back into place, and then just kept going. Yeah, it was fun. So luckily, it was cold enough that I didn't really feel it. So that's.
Well, I know what that's like.
Healthy running, don't do as I do. That's all I can say. Don't do this at home.
I can at least relate to the cold in this story because I'm from Buffalo, so I definitely know. But good grief, Jesus, man.
And the weird thing is that was the first time I ever dislocated anything, and I actually bruised my ribs pretty badly. So that was not my best run.
Oh, and your ribs too. That hurts every time you take a breath in.
Yes, it did.
Oh, okay, yeah. See, that's why I don't run.
It didn't hurt.
I'm getting from this: never ever run. That's what I'm getting from this.
It didn't hurt on the run. It hurt afterwards when things were like swelling up, and I had all these bruises. And
yeah. Yeah, but the running is what got you there, though. The running is what got the bruises there. That's what I'm saying. No more running. Yeah.
So once that ice storm, well, that ice storm was bad because that was a Saturday. On Wednesday, it was still kind of during COVID, I think. So I was telling my story to this wife last night too. But basically, I re-dislocated that finger on the Wednesday run. So.
No, thank you, man. I dislocate my jaw.
No more. Yeah.
I dislocate my jaw. It happens like every now and then. It just kind of like pops out of place, and I'm like, and I have to like pop it back in. It's horrible.
Well, so both those were completely my fault, and it was because I ran down granite steps, and then two, there was this lovely old couple. This was just at like the start of COVID, I think, or my time. No, 2021. So this would be a year in or whatever, and. They were coming up the hill. I was going down. There wasn't enough of the path that had been cleared because it just come through with more snow. And so I took a shortcut through the woods, not realizing that it was just a sheet of ice. So again, I took one step and then my foot slipped out from under me. And so I slid and redislocated, just popped back into place again. And
I would love to hear this story from Richard. He says he went jogging once and nearly died.
I think it's just more the general out of breath thing.
Out of breath. Maybe start with a power walk.
Yeah.
A brisk power walk, maybe around a mall with some old folks, and work your way up to jogging. That's what I would do anyway.
But yeah, minus those two injuries, I really don't hurt myself on running. So running is a lot safer than you think. Just don't do it during an ice storm. What they're permitting.
Running is a lot safer than you think. Well, how long have you been writing?
Since about 18.
18? How old are you now?
Yeah, 34.
Okay. All right, you're making me do the math. How many years?
Couple. 16, does that sound right? Yeah, 16 feels.
Sure, why not? Sure. When did you decide to take writing all the way to like finishing a novel and publishing?
I always wanted to. So I had that one story in my mind. I had, like I said, this fight inside of a volcano, and I sort of spiraled out from there. The story evolved quickly, and I realized that didn't make any sense whatsoever for the world I was building, for the characters I was creating. But I had that one crystalline moment, and so I sort of developed that over time. And then there was a period in my mid-20s where every 6 months I would completely overhaul that same book, and I would really just want to get it to be something that I would be proud of. So I kind of had that one, much like my climax moment where I had that one crystalline scene. Yeah. I had this one dream of like, I want to get this thing into a position where it's really well written, where I can be proud of it. So.
Yeah. See, I think once I became a father, I was like, you know what? Like I've been talking about doing this. I've been practicing basically, but never actually finishing anything. It's time to finish something. So it was very much like that, where there's just like a moment where it switches, right? Where you're like, you know what? This is where I go from amateur to professional. From now on, this is what I do. Like, let's do this. Yeah, it's good stuff. Yeah. I think I hit a nerve.
Don't worry. I've been trying to turn Richard into a runner too. It doesn't work.
Got to know your body and its limits. As part of it's being safe, slowly intensify.
Yeah.
Do it healthily. Maybe consult a professional, such as Ben here, somebody who knows what he's doing when he's not running in storms.
My brother's the professional. I'm just kind of a hobbyist at this point.
Copy that. Well, okay. So there's going to be a crystalline moment where you're going to go from to a professional runner.
Fun runner to
hobby runner. Yeah.
Yeah, hobby runner to was it a marathoner to Ironman.
Where are you in the process of your book again?
I have the first one written. It's gone through a couple of rounds of editor. It's gone through the developmental editor, copy editor. It's going through my alpha reader right now, and then I'm going to send it to the copy editor, and it'll be proofread and ready for publish. So I'm aiming to get it out this summer.
Nice.
Hoping for July.
Nice. Pitch your book to the audience.
Absolutely. On the day that Derek demonstrates that he has powers to his best friend, he accidentally unleashes a monster, which proceeds to then hunt him down and sends him on a journey across time.
Sold.
Yep.
I want to read that right now.
Awesome.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I can actually do one better than that too, because I have the second book written, although written and self-edited, not professionally edited, and it sort of delves deeper into this. But so my wife is a nerd, and one of her biggest complaints, she doesn't really like this superhero, very famous, known as Superman, because he can just do everything. And so I took a character, my main one of my main heroes, and I gave him all those powers. But then as the series goes on, he's going to get weaker and weaker and weaker, and try and still, fight the good fight.
Yeah.
So he's kind of like a reverse Superman.
That's interesting. So, like, as the story goes, he gets closer and closer to being a normal human being by the end.
Yeah, kind of.
Whoa. I dig it.
Yep.
I dig it. Martin's poking me. Martin's poking me. He says my hobby is collecting pilots in a minivan. I did that once for my job. I do it sometimes for my job. Shut up. Will this be a series or a standalone?
Series. I don't know how many books I'll eventually write. I have the first one written, I have the second one written, I have the third one I'm currently writing because I'm insane and like doing too much all at once. Originally I planned for a 9-book series. I think realistically that might be closer to 5, just because of those crystalline moments of the conflicts, the climax, the conflicts, everything that I want to tell in the story. And I think I have, since the original plan, I've since downsized and combined a lot of those moments into previous books, or into the intermediate books.
That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So, you say it could be as many as 5 or more?
Yeah.
See, I keep thinking of my series as a trilogy, but the closer, well, now that I finished the first draft and I'm outlining the second, I think it could go even so I'm just calling it a series for now. I don't have a plan for more books, but I just see like so much open space that I can fill in with story. What inspired you to start the YouTube channel?
I'm lucky enough to have some really incredibly charismatic and entertaining people in my life, and some of my close friends had a podcast in it's got to be a decade ago now, and it was the three of them that would come together. It wasn't really about anything. It was just their life and their interactions, and they just had so much fun doing it. And I'm like, you know what? I want something like that. What do I know? What do I know? What can I talk about? And I'm like, well, I'm working on writing this book. I want to do that. And so the people in my life inspire me to create my YouTube channel. And then I started looking online and seeing what other YouTube channels there were about writing. And that's how I got involved and looked into the AuthorTube community and really sort of expanded from there.
And how did the running and the writing come together for the channel? Like, how did the concept come up?
I think I might be combining a few different question answers here, but so much of the way I think, I mean, when I run, I have an hour and change to myself. So I think through all these logical problems in my head. That's something I learned from when I was in college and I was, studying engineering. I would have like some problem in my head that I just didn't really understand. And so I would sort of let my feet wander for an hour and I would just break it down, try and spin it around, look at it in a different way. And I evolved that process to just think about whatever thing is bothering me, whatever problem I have. I focus on it and then I try and turn around in a bunch of different ways. And I use my running to sort of fuel that. And so that's where it sort of naturally flowed from what do I know? How can I combine that with writing? And it just flowed, excuse me. It just flowed naturally from there.
Interesting, man. I'm always impressed with how you can come up with a new connection for the writing and the running. Like I said at the beginning, I'm always like jazzed to like see how you're going to connect the two once we get there.
Yeah, and it again that also flows naturally because there's so many different parallels from running a marathon, which I'm going to admit here I never done. But there are so many parallels between training and just preparation to the actual race itself, to the different mile markers and how you feel versus draft one, beta readers, developmental editors, and then the actual publishing process. There were so many natural parallels in there that it just clicked for me in my head. And in the original iteration of Writing to Write, I was actually going to have it be running through the block. And it was going to be like this foot kicking down a brick wall to explain how I got through writer's block, which I think is going to be a later question here too. But
maybe not.
Maybe not. But I thought that was a good idea, but it didn't have enough going for it. So I expanded it out to just be writing advice through running metaphors instead of just how I work through one specific problem when it comes to my writing.
Yeah. Richard says, I'm neither charismatic nor entertaining. Martin can confirm.
You guys.
These two, man, like, Jesus.
Oh, man, they were just bashing each other on Friday, too.
It's all love. It's all love. Which of the two activities do you think that you do more? And which one do you dream about more?
That's a tough one. I definitely dream about writing more. I wish on a consistent week I do write more, because I mean I only run for maybe 4 hours a week. Yeah, I run for about 4 hours a week. So ideally I would be writing more than that. Whether I can actually achieve that depends on the week.
Sure. But the goal is always to write way more than 4 hours a week.
Yeah.
Oh, we have some.
But the cool thing is that when I'm running, I'm also thinking about writing. So I'll come back from a long run, especially on a day like yesterday, and I'll take a shower, and then I'm just ready to go because I've been thinking about whatever chapter I want to work on, and then I just take off from there.
Do you get your ideas for stories and stuff while you're running?
Sometimes. There are definitely situations. There is a bridge that I run across frequently, which is a pivotal setting in the book that I'm working on, Falling Through. So, yeah, everything just sort of feeds together, and I pull it through. I funnel it through running and start typing on the computer.
And how do the running metaphors work for you? Like, how do you come up with the metaphor first and then come up with the video behind it? Like, how does all that, like, kind of come about for you for each video?
Randomly, honestly. It's really the videos are very haphazard. I started off the first season, I call them seasons or whatever. They're 26 episodes because I modeled it, 27 episodes because I modeled it after a marathon plus a bonus episode since it's technically 26.2 miles. And that flowed very naturally. Like the very first episode, I'm like, well, the first thing you got to do is put on your shoes. So that's getting out the front door. How do you start a manuscript? Where do you start from there? So it flowed very naturally from there. Then you have mile 10 where you're starting to reevaluate your own skills, and then you have mile 25 where you're starting to hallucinate. So that was all about magic systems. Yeah, so it flows very naturally from there. I recently did a race, and so I sort of had some issues with that in terms of preparation, in terms of just mental and physical exhaustion. And so I wrote a few episodes based on that. So it's like writing,
is stretching before running, is that part of it too? Like maybe that's plotting or brainstorming?
You got it.
Yeah.
I'll bring you on. We'll do your you'll be just cranking out writing metaphors. I think I did actually have one about stretching too. Or if I didn't have a video all about stretching in terms of writing, then it was definitely a point in the video. If you want to stretch before you run, you want to outline before you write. At least for me, I'm a very hardcore, strong outliner. I'm not a pantser.
I am also a hardcore outliner. But Richard said running gets the juices flowing. At least I think he's talking about him. So
yeah.
Grief. The Spice Girls.
He's making a lot of comments. I did a video on Dune a while back. I did a watch party for it, and yeah.
No worries, Jenna. I caught it. You are all good. Okay, so what are some of your biggest influences as a writer?
Honestly, everything around me, everything I funnel through. I try and draw in as much of my real life experiences into my writing. So there are, Adam, and Richard are going to be very conflicted on the "I love Dune" comment. But
I loved Dune.
So, in the early iterations of my book, one of the big comments is that my characters were just... Can I curse?
Yeah, curse away, man. Fuck it.
My characters were assholes to each other, and every single beta reader who read it are like, "Wow, these people are such terrible jerks. They're just so selfish.
No likable qualities in them.
No likable qualities." And I'm like, I base all these people off like myself and my friends, so I need to reevaluate a lot in my life and the people I hang out with. Aside from that, we have all these books behind me. I'm not going to dig too much into that because I do have a bookshelf reveal that I'm going to do because I'm going to be working overtime this week, so I'm going to do a really quick video on everything that's behind me. But you can see I've moved around quite a bit, so I've had to downsize my book collection, and so everything that's behind me are my favorite books. So you have, Raymond Feist's Makemia series, we have Lord of the Rings, we have Diadem, which is a book that I read as a kid, we have some classic Star Wars canon, which is no longer canon.
We're gonna be shifting to the live chat in a minute. I just wanted to ask you then, since your book is coming out this year, are you doing some sort of running related event in celebration of the release?
No, but I really wish I should. I really need to come up with an idea for that now too. I don't know if I could do like run while wearing some just logo on my shirt and just be like, hey, check out this email, check out this website, whatever.
I don't know if there's if the timing works out with some kind of marathon. You say you never run a marathon before, you could run a marathon for the first time or something like that. But don't you have to train for like a year or something like that for a marathon?
You don't have to train for a year for that, but I wouldn't have to adjust. I would have to adjust my schedule, my running schedule a lot more because I would need to do I would want to. Running. If I'm going to do a marathon, I would want to do well. I'm the only brother who hasn't run a marathon at this point. So everyone, and of my brothers, I'm the slow one. So
you said that you're the slow one?
Yeah.
What do your running brothers think of your running to write channel?
They enjoy it. I mean, they aren't really runners. They aren't really writers or avid fantasy sci-fi readers. So I think they've checked in and out of it.
Yeah.
every so often, they're willing to support me. So they like that I'm passionate about it, but they don't necessarily care about my content.
I hear that. It's like, like I say that kind of thing about my parents all the time. It's like, of course they're supportive of it, but it's not like they're going to read my book.
Right. Yeah.
All right. So let's switch gears here and head over to the live chat Q&A because there's lots of questions in there. Let's do this.
Let's do it.
Before he runs away.
What?
I'm hilarious. Okay. What advice would you give to someone who wants to start running but finds it physically difficult?
There are actually great couch to 5K programs, and it amounts to walking first and then mixing in more and more running in there. So building up your stamina. I don't know the actual plans or what they say to do, but basically you'll have, a mile, 2 miles or whatever, where you'll be walking the entire time, and then you'll just slowly be running for more and more of that. So sort of walk, run, walk, run, walk, run. And eventually you'll be able to run the entire thing. And then it's a matter of steadily building up that stamina so you do longer distances or faster, the same distance but at a faster pace. And I would hesitate to recommend exactly the specifics for you, but that is the general process that you would do. You want to get something planned for you because as I mentioned, it is very easy to injure yourself if you go too hard, or if you aren't paying attention, you twist an ankle, or if you fall down some stairs, whatever. The point is that you want to steadily build it up, and I think, don't quote me on this, but I want to say that once you find your good pace, so let's say you're doing 5 miles and you want to increase your mileage, I think the pace you want to go at is you can add on 10% to that without really causing too much harm to your body. And again, definitely talk to a physical therapist, read books, do whatever you want to do the full research in terms of matching a plan to yourself.
Just like a diet or anything else, every person is different, and everybody's going to respond differently to stimuli. So, yeah, getting with somebody and figuring out your plan is probably where you want to start.
Yes, but it would definitely start off at some kind of walk-run pace.
I had not seen this before. This is not a question for you. This is just Richard teeing me up for the BAM!
Nice.
Stop the spread.
She ordered that.
Did you?
Yeah.
So you're the one. So you're the one person who's bought something from my store.
Hey man,
I want to see it on your channel because we need to fight this war against him. It's not just about the pineapple pizza. It's also about the spreadsheets, okay? Spreadsheets for drafting makes no sense. It's more work than it's worth. Have you published anything, or have you sat on all of it? We talked about this, Richard.
Yeah.
There's an old question.
I sat on all of it. It took me a while to get to a point where I was comfortable with my writing and with
I feel that.
the story I was telling. And so now that I feel like I finally have something, I'm ready to share it with the world.
I love
But
that.
it took me years and, a 6-month iteration of where I would cycle through and completely rewrite it. And I've tore this thing down and started up all over. I talk about how in my videos, or it's a future video, where I talk about how I started off in first person. Yeah. And then shifted that to a rotating third-person narrative, which caused a lot of issues.
Yeah. You got to go back and redo that whole beginning if you're not going to do the first person thing. Yeah. Oof. Ben, does the time travel create another quantum reality, or is it a predestination paradox?
That is actually a topic I bring up in the book, so you should definitely read it. I will say that they do come back about a third from the end, and they deal with things that have happened at home, and they are, the entire time as they're traveling through, they travel at different time periods, and they are absolutely concerned with paradoxes. So I will just say, read up.
Read up. What piece of street furniture does the time machine take the form of?
There is no time machine. It's more of just a hole in space that they fall through. This is the bookmarks based on the cover. I don't know how well that comes through.
I see it. It looks... Oh, hold on. Let me give you a full screener here. Let me give you a full screener.
Cool. Yeah, sorry, there's some glare. Let's angle it. There we go.
Nice.
So you can see one of the characters falling through this just sphere that leads elsewhere.
Looks dope.
Thank you. It was awesome.
Adam asks, what's your favorite sci-fi movie? I'm going to ask for qualification here, though. Are we talking about all sci-fi movies, like including the series, or are we talking about like a standalone sci-fi movie that doesn't have sequels or anything like that?
I mean, I'm just going to say Star Wars.
Is the easy answer?
Sorry, Empire Strikes Back. Yeah, I'll go the easy answer. I can go if I have more time. I'll come back to a good answer for that. But yes,
I want to answer too, because for me the easy answer is not Star Wars. For me, the easy answer is The Matrix. That's not just my favorite sci-fi movie, but it's up there as probably one of my favorite movies of all time. I've seen it the most out of probably most movies. I've rewatched it the most. But since that's the easy answer for me, a runner-up would be something like Sunshine by directed by Danny Boyle. Excuse me.
Read with the Sun.
Read with the yes. Favorite running shoes.
I bounce back and forth. Usually Asics are a pretty good one. Varies. But Asics, I think the Cumulus, is that them? I feel like that's them.
I must not know enough about running shoes. I haven't heard of these brands. I know Nike.
AASC. And let me see. I think they are the Cumulus. But it's a stable shoe, very neutral. It's got some padding in it. So
nice.
ASICS.
What kind of music do you listen to when running and writing? Any guilty pleasures?
Adam, I'm going to not answer this one because I have a video coming out tomorrow.
Oh,
the music I listen to. Music
nice. Very nice. So, teeing him up for it, Adam. I like it.
Yeah.
What is your outlining method, and does it involve Excel? God damn it, Richard. All right, moving on. What advice for... No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
My outline method, it does, but my outline method does not involve Excel. My writing method does. So I have each of the chapters lined up. I have the dates when things take place in the story. I have the word counts for each chapter, and I track that all. I track the narrator in there. So I have like all these different columns, all these different pieces coordinated in there. My outlining method is very haphazard. I do have a couple videos about it, but the outline that I generate is about like a 20 to 40 page Word document of all the notes that I copied in, all the little index cards that I copied in. You know, I take these, I spread them across my floor, I map them to the whatever model I'm using. You know, the three-act structure, the escalating.
They're all the same thing. They just have different names.
You start static. You go up to a climax. You build up to the denouement.
I use the 7 turning points for a screenplay from the Screenwriter's Bible. It just like takes the whole like hero's journey thing and condenses it into like 7 nice, neat little turning points, and I just do that to map everything.
Well, so since I'm a strong outliner, I have, like I said, a 40-page document, Word document, with actual lines of dialogue in there, specific, paragraph of a setting that I want to include. And so I'll take like each chapter, copy it into the chapter as I'm writing it, and then I'll use that as a model, and then I'll just work in directly from there. So it's kind of a descent into madness is the best way I put my outline method.
Yes, I am, because he bought the shirt. He bought the shirt. He made me feel good. And then he pulled the rug out from under me, live in front of everyone. Ben, you're on my list.
I don't know what to say, man. I like the shirt. I just do also use spreadsheets.
What advice from SPTT interviewees impacted you most? And also fill me in, SPTT.
Self-publishing tips and tricks. I do it with Shannon at SC Houston and Morgan Lee.
Nice.
We interview a bunch of self-publishers, and I feel like we are up to episode 10.
Nice.
So we're also in episode 10.
I think I've popped in on a couple of those.
The best advice I've seen from that is more about marketing. In that primarily I need to do it. I feel like we did interview Richard, and he was a big proponent of his sheet that he always holds up, his newsletter. So
you remember the sheet, but not what's written on it.
He's a big proponent of his newsletter and marketing yourself. And
it's time for a new sheet, Richard. You need something a little more flashy.
He has a new sheet. His new sheet is all about advertising for this. For your book club.
I love your excitement that he has a new sheet. He has a new sheet.
But yeah,
I saw that he's campaigning hard for the book club.
Hey, there are no losers. This is all going to be, either way. It's going to be a great book to read.
Yeah, like I said at the beginning, I'm psyched to read either one of these books, and they're both my friends. I'm happy for either one of them. It's just been really, really fun because it's been a neck and neck battle between these two the whole way. It's pretty funny. And it, I don't know, it just cracks me up because he's just like campaigning everywhere. A genre you'd never write in.
I would say romance, but
a lot of my dudes on here say romance.
Yeah, so I also think I don't know that I could write a full novel on sci-fi. I've mentioned before I have a really good idea for a concept for a sci-fi. I don't know if I can pull it out into a full story.
Mm.
I've explained before, but I can really go into it quickly. Basically, there's a drug, you inject yourself with it, it's got a 50-50 chance of killing you, and of those who survive, like a 1 in 100 chance of gaining superpowers. And then it's basically like steroids. So you have these people who take a high risk
It
and
like creates mutants. It's
creates
like
mutants. Yeah. And then those mutants most likely go on to become professional sports players because they basically do away with. So have psychics going against really strong people, going against really fast people, etc. And I had a couple of really fun superpowers in there, but I never really. It's a great concept, but it doesn't really have a conflict. Sort of like
you still have to find the story. Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the first character that impacted you as a reader?
Whew. I'd say going back to Star Wars, Young Jedi Knights was probably one of the first. Animorphs, Young Jedi Knights, Diadem. Unfortunately, of all those series I mentioned, this was the only one that survived the move, so Diadem.
I like it.
This might come as a shock to you, but it's a fantasy-style story in which they travel through across dimensions. It kind of mixes up a couple of different genres in there, but they try and uncover the mysteries of that realm. And so each of them come from like a different dimension, different planet, and they these three heroes that come together and save the universe.
That's
a kid's book.
Yeah, a kid's book.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Don't look, dude. If I let you win Tuber Book Club, if I just let you win, will you stop?
No.
He'll never stop. And his answer was no. His answer was no. Pineapple does not belong on pizza.
But to be fair, I do really like a pepperoni jalapeno because it's got some good spice to it.
That's fine. That. Yeah,
it's a nice twist.
Just keep your.
I don't like pepperoni on pizza.
You mean pineapple?
Very well on the run. None.
Yeah, you don't eat while you run. After the run.
Yeah. And I mean, after the run, I just inhale everything. So let's. My diet plan after a run is Kirby. But little pink ball that just inhales everything. If I do, let me think. So on a half marathon, you do want to get some food in you. So I'll typically do an energy bar, something really quick, while I can still keep going while I'm eating it. After a run, though, the best thing I do is a bagel. Bagel after like a race, the best thing is bagel. After a normal run, I just do like a banana. Banana's really good.
Bananas too. Yeah. Good answers. Barrett chiming up that he also bought something from my store. Yeah, ooh. I saw that too. He bought the fart shirt. Nice. Can't wait to see it on your channel, bro. I just cannot wait. He's ripping off your time hole story. Okay.
Well, it's not through a mailbox, so it's not. It's a spinoff. There we go.
It's a spinoff. Okay. Least favorite sci-fi film?
Oh. Recently, I would say the Blade Runner sequel. Did not like that in any way.
I mean, if we're saying any, then Rise of Skywalker. Like,
that's sci-fi, definitely.
Biggest disappointment, like, just it's terrible.
You are right inside my head. So I film. You're not going to hear this for a while because I film very far in advance. But I did just bash the Star Wars series in one of my episodes.
Everyone
2 months from now, you'll get my thoughts on why that is atrocious.
Here we go. Ben, have you watched Arcane? If not, watch it on Netflix and call me to thank me later.
Yeah, I am much like my TBR list. My watch list is very, very far behind, and my wife watched Arcane. She thoroughly enjoyed it. Said I would also like it, so it is on my list of things to watch.
All right.
Although I never played. It's based on what is it? It's based on a game, like a tower rushing game. Not tower rushing, but MOBA. League of Legends.
MOBA?
It's based on League of Legends. I never really played League of Legends.
No. Yeah, I'm not familiar. I'm trying to get caught up here. It's 5 o'clock. We have to wrap it up. But Barrett was talking about your outlining method. Have you done a video on that yet?
I have. I can put a link in the chat, actually, if I can find it quickly.
Awesome. Richard says spreadsheets before bed sheets. That explains a lot. That explains a lot.
Richard. It's an older episode, so the quality will not be as good, but...
Is Adrian suggesting it's rigged? Richard will demand a rig. It's not rigged. I'm not gonna just give it to. I just want it to stop. I just want the pineapple pizza to stop. The Last Jedi, man, I hated Rise of Skywalker way more than Last Jedi. There's a lot to like in Last Jedi. It's not a complete dumpster fire, but Rise of Skywalker is just hot garbage. All right, bro. We are going to wrap this up. Why don't you go ahead and let the folks at home know what you have coming up next, what they can look forward to on your channel. Say your goodbyes to everybody at home and your thank yous.
All right. Like I said, I am Ben Pick. I post weekly videos 7 p.m. Eastern Time as Running to Write. YouTube.com/Running to Write. That's the number 2, all one word. I give questionable writing advice through running metaphors and usually divulge into some kind of nerd rant. So it is a lot of fun. I hope to see you all there. I hope you all enjoy my content. And in terms of things that are coming up, like I said, this past week I did a rundown on my recording setup. Coming up tomorrow, will have my musical inspirations for both running and writing. 2 weeks ago, I did a live stream about writing while maintaining relationships. So how do you not piss off people in your life? And I have a couple of really fun videos planned coming shortly, including tropes, fantasy tropes I don't like, including the different points of narration, points of view for narrators. So the differences between first person versus third person, as somebody who rewrote his novel from first person into third person. There's a lot of changes that I need to make. So yeah, I hope to see you all there.
Dude, that all sounds awesome. I'm excited for all of that. I wanted to throw this up too. The results of the poll, it's split all the way across. So, being the host and, judge rules and everything, I'm just going to put a 1% on the awesome, and then I win and everybody else loses. Okay.
Well, so really important question then. Dune 1984 or Dune 2021?
Dude, 2021. We're not even talking about the other one. What are you talking about? What are you talking about here, bro?
I didn't like the 2021, man.
I loved it. Whatever.
It didn't tell a complete story.
Yes, I know. There's a part 2 coming. Well, this isn't new to us. Why are we acting like it's new? Harry Potter did it. The Hunger Games did it. Why can't Dune do it?
They ended it like 20 minutes short. They had the perfect break for where his story at that point in time concluded.
Dude, let's get into it on the podcast. Speaking of which, I'm trying to differentiate the live stream Sunday from the podcast a little further. I haven't been doing a good job of giving the podcast its own personality. So this show has always been more about the author, their career, their journey, yada yada. So we're going to go to more about the craft in Typewriters Podcast. So if you would like to know how Mr. Ben Pick does all these awesome things that he writes, tune in on Thursday, excuse me, for the Typewriters Podcast. Ben, thank you so much for being here. Everybody in the chat, thank you so much for being here. We ran a little long, but we started a little late, so you're welcome, is what I'm saying. You're welcome. And we'll catch you guys on the Flippy Flop. Let's get going. Oh, Tuesday, Tuber Book Club. Don't miss it. Bye.